Good morning and welcome to the Patriot Editorial Board. What we do is on the record. We're videotaping or audio taping. Kristen may or may not report out depending on whether we think there is news value in what we said, but the reason that we ask you to come in is that John and I, and often the publisher who is traveling today and sends his regrets, we need to understand more from you, where you stand on some key issues, so that we can better inform our own editorial endorsement decision. So you are free to make an opening statement, or we can dive right in, your choice.
Yeah, dive right in.
Okay.
I could start with my name. I'm Bob Montgomery Thomas. Long name. My dad, I was born Montgomery. And my dad was killed in World War II. So I don't make a big deal of my name, but I'm a Montgomery. And I notice your elevators coming up are Montgomery elevators, so take note of that next time. 68 years old. I got 2 married sons, 5 grandchildren, so I've been blessed. And I get into things when I think things need to be gotten into. I've run for this race before. I ran 4 years ago. I came in 3rd place, as you know. And I didn't quit coming in 3rd place. I ran a write-in campaign because I wasn't satisfied with either of the candidates, because I thought I had better ideas than either of the candidates. My political experience might be lacking, but my heart is not. And it's a funny thing, I grew up in Philadelphia on Raymond Street at the intersection of G Street. The other end of the block intersected with Weymouth Street. So there was some kismet that brought me to Weymouth. It's where I got more information about my dad. And I would have never known because of projects that I do, World War II projects. So that's me.
If there was one key moment when you decided that this is it, I've got to challenge the incumbent, what issue was it that sent it over the edge?
Just a number of issues, We're, in Weymouth, we're like a car spinning its tires in the mud. There's no forward vision, in my view. It's not to say that, and I like Sue. I donated to one of her campaigns many years ago when she was running for selectman. I got her in as a charter member of the Weymouth Lions Club, where I was the charter president, re-elected twice. So it's difficult, but I see where we're stuck. Weymouth is stuck in some sort of a time warp, a 389-year time warp. When Weston's men were removed from Plymouth settlement, they moved up and they founded Weymouth, and they weren't prepared. And I don't want to get into that story, but they just were not prepared. And it seems to me that we don't have anyone thinking ahead or thinking outside of the box. I think outside of the box. I was explaining to Dan, as I was shown on my little display board, that I think in mosaics and I dream in color. I'm a retired designer, and I had a plan that I put together 4 years ago for Legion Field. And because we couldn't have any PowerPoint presentations, I put together this little display board. The central focus is to do something for Sergeant Andrew K. Farrar, Jr. And let me unveil that here. This was an octagonal shape, just a concept. It's gone beyond this now to incorporate things that people don't see. Like Dan never saw that you have a Montgomery elevator. And I look outside, I look through the forest and I see the trees. I don't always, but in most cases I do. So the original concept, and you see I drew this in 2007, and these are some inputs from different places that could be incorporated. into the design. Now, I want to appoint a mayoral advisory committee of 54 people, 3 from each precinct. In each precinct, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican, 1 independent. Each precinct will have a captain, and there will be equal distribution of political affiliation or non-affiliation. And I'm thinking that we could work together without any political partisanship trying to rock the boat. The captaincies will rotate every year. So if you're the Democrat and you're the captain this year, and you're the Republican, you'll be the captain next year. And each would be required to put together something that's going on in their precinct, and we'll put it on a flash drive, bring it in, we'll meet, everyone gets 5 minutes to speak, brief summary of what's going on in the what things that we need to prioritize in town, and get the ball rolling. Now, out of that 54 people, 6 of them are going to be chosen to go through my ideas and enhance them, move them forward, and get input from the community. This is my idea, and okay, this is great, but what does the community want? So if we start with a central theme and the community says, well, how about if we put this over in this corner? And how about if we do this over here? And then everyone's satisfied. And we say, okay, fine. The plan, in my view, is going to get us some federal and state funding based on the central theme that has evolved around this pavilion. And why someone doesn't see it is not beyond me, because if you're in the forest, you sometimes don't see the trees.
Mr. Thomas, if I can just interrupt. Weymouth has how many households?
Well, there are,
How many people?
well, 54,000, some odd, 18,000 households.
Okay. 18,000 households, 54,000 people. What is the annual town budget?
The annual town budget right now is $130 million,
Okay.
plus change,
A good portion of that schools, but
42%.
public safety, street repairs, garbage disposal, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
With great respect to the work and the concept that you've done here, why would the citizens of Weymouth, who are facing drug problems, police safety problems, school quality of life problems, and a variety of other civic and social issues, focus on, as worthy as it might be, a pavilion project, and not have a candidate address any one of the other key crucial governance issues that may be facing a community of 50,000 odd people?
Okay, that's a very good question, and the answer, the short and simple answer is that Legion Field seems to be on the front burner. So this is number one. Actually, number one in my book is to put service back into public service. You walk into some office, and just like when you walk into a Stop and Shop, how may I help you when you're checking out? So we need to do that. We need to address Legion Field, and it's not the only thing that I want to do. The town budget's $130 million. The schools spent $84 million last year. Okay, so there's more money than what comes from the budget, the $55 million. They spent $86 million, or they're on track for 86 this year. They have an 82% graduation rate. You can look at that and say, well, we have an 18% failure to launch rate. That 18% failure to launch is costing the taxpayers over $15 million a year. So, and then we have this alleged net school spending deficit, where a 20-year-old mandate formula says you need to spend this, and it grows exponentially every year. And it doesn't require any improvement from staff. 82% is great. The statewide average is 70%. So the state gets a C, Weymouth gets a B. And you look at a magnet school in Hartford, Connecticut. It's got an 85% black and Latino school population. They graduate 100%, and 100% of the 100% goes on to a four-year college. So what we need to do in Weymouth is get that 82% and take half of that 18 and identify problems there and get at least 9 percentage points so that we're at 91% in 1 or 2 years or 3 years. And then we get an A. And we keep improving on that.
Well, what would you suggest, or how would you facilitate such a shift?
Well, you need to hire a school superintendent who evokes leadership, someone who walks into the room, and you just look at that person and you say, and that guy's the woman is the leader. I mean, you can just see it, you can sense it. And this principal in Hartford has meetings with his teachers. He greets every one of the students every day coming to school, brings a couple of them in. But he has meetings with the teachers, and he basically tells them, look, if you can't cut the mustard, please don't let the door hit you, because we have a job to do here. We need to educate these kids. So that would be a priority. As a member of the school committee, I would have a lot of input in choosing a school superintendent. I don't want mediocre. I am very pro-education. I am not throwing money at a problem and saying, okay, this is going to fix things. It's not. We need dedication.
Was Miss Livingstone mediocre?
Say again?
Was Miss Livingstone mediocre?
No, she was actually a very brilliant mathematician. You know, I got to like her just before, I never disliked her. But I got to know more about her just before she passed, and I could see the brilliance. I mean, she could be giving a presentation in a room extemporaneously, just throw numbers out there that would boggle your mind, and she had a command of the situation. So I think we need someone with her knowledge, someone who's going to make the principals and staff admire and want to be like him or her. And see, this is a driving force. We all look to heroes, so to speak. And we need that. We need someone who's going to evoke the image of a leader and be the leader. It's not a